Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 862, Arsenal dropping and Rory rising. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well now that we've sorted out your new background for the video component of the podcast. So Listeners will have no idea how much work went into you getting your mic properly set up.
It's not really set up. It's quite makeshift MacGyver setup, but hopefully we won't have the misconnections that we used to have when I would hold my mic and get very adamant when I was, having passionate talks about certain topics.
Oh,
well,
I won't.
I was going to say, one of which is tipping point. I want to bring this up off the bat because you have been sending me, I don't know, what's the gambling app that has tipping point?
32 Red.
I'm not a fan of 32 Red.
It's a free-to-play game, in fairness. I can't be overly critical. It's like, it's once per day you get to throw your little token in and see if you win a free bet or free spins. I don't think they've invested too much.
Terrible game physics.
Yeah. I think if you submit a complaint about that, you automatically get flagged as a problem gambler. I think that's the...
I think I've watched so much Tipping Point now. I made this comment the other day. I think I'm going to start a side job and be a Tipping Point consultant.
See, you're so close to finding yourself completely in the deep end. Like, this is how when you then watch some kind of daytime television show and you wonder, where do they find these weirdos from? Like, where do they find the people on Deal or No Deal who adamantly believe that they have a system? You're that guy. You're close to being that guy. Where you start to think you really truly understand.
I'm worse. I'm not even that guy. I'm the guy who wants to consult the people who are going to go on the show so they know the right maneuvers to make. Yeah. I mean, I could write a rule book. I could write a how-to book so easily now after watching it for, a good few months.
Yeah, I mean, no one... Could you? I mean, yeah, you could.
I could.
Would it be?
Should you?
Would it be in any way useful to anybody on Earth? Probably not. For listeners who are unaware, Tipping Point, it's just Plinko. So you're just...
Whoa. It is not just Plinko.
It kind of is.
With levels. Plinko just goes straight down.
Okay, but fundamentally, the physics that you're going to claim to understand, you're now a guy who says he's got Plinko beat.
No, listen, amateur Tipping Point man here. I don't want to have to get into some specifics here, but there are times when you should be dropping and times when you should not, based off of where the counters are on the edge. Like, for instance, I'll give you the base one. When they start the game, both the edges are like kind of loaded, like they preload the tipping points. When you first win the question, you can choose whether you want to go or not, and people always choose to go. And you never get counters on the first 2 or 3 drops, no matter what, because there's so much weight on them. So the move is you always say, I'll pass. And the person who's like, oh, I'm going to go, they never get anything, and then they always lose because they go right out in the beginning. You have to be patient in Tipping Point, Eddie. It's a patient man's game. Or woman.
If I put zero thought into the strategy behind Tipping Point, I can't argue with you because I just, this is the rarest thing. I can't argue with you because I don't care at all. Like, usually I can at least feign some bit of interest. I can kind of like get myself slightly worked up so that I can kind of convince myself that it's worth putting a counterpoint out there. But in this instance, you might be 100% right. I don't know. I'll never know. I don't care if I never know.
We got to get Ben Shepherd on.
He probably won't care. For listeners, that is the host of Tipping Point.
I guess the real question is, what what is more boring, watching Tipping Point or watching Arsenal?
Oh, Arsenal. That's not even close. To be fair, I mean, the real thing, the trick you're missing is you should just you should try and be a consultant to Arsenal. You could probably convince Arteta that understanding tipping point is the key to winning the Premier League and that he should have his players watching an episode of Tipping Point every day together and then
During
recreating
training, put it on the big
yeah,
screen like the
yeah,
TikToks.
exactly.
So
And
stupid.
if they can get the timing correct, then
Now, now here I have to ask because I get consumed now with a lot of Instagram reels, on the Premier League because obviously we share a lot and we discuss it a lot. But I don't get into it enough to know what's real or not real. So very quickly, the posting of TikToks and stuff on the big screen during their practice sessions, that's real, right?
that's real, yeah.
Okay. What about the
Pens,
game they were playing where they put the pens in between each other
also
and were
real.
moving around? That's also real.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Arsenal have reached Donald Trump levels where everything they do is so outrageously dumb that it's impossible to tell whether something's AI or not. Like, I actually think it would be a waste of AI to make fake things up that Arsenal are doing because honestly, they're doing it anyway. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the training methods, and I feel a little bit sorry for Arteta. I think sometimes things are lost in
Do you?
translation. He When I listen to him speak or when I see those insights into what he runs training sessions on, whether it's the things that get memed, do you see a duck or a rabbit, all that nonsense when he shows like Tony's tweet before their match against Brentford, this weird thing where they've got keeping the ball between their heads and pens between their fingers. It feels like the worst combination of team building exercises that I've ever been part of at a company. Like, that's just
Yeah.
it's hard for me to imagine that footballers who are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a week are not publicly speaking about how stupid this is.
I think they are.
They're
At
not.
least the things I'm seeing they are, but maybe it's not the same people. Maybe it's
No,
not
I
the
mean the
real
actual
bigs.
players. I don't mean. I
Okay.
mean that it surprises me that I get that they're so close to winning the title that some
Don't
of
say
them will
anything
just be
yet.
fully bought in.
Yeah.
There's definitely, if they don't win the title, he has to go for sure because it's a historic collapse if they don't win the title. But also, I think the stories that will leak will be unprecedented in terms of just players saying, "When I knew we were cooked," kind of stories.
Yeah.
And but it does surprise me that there isn't a player who's on the fringes, who's not really involved in playing, who feels a bit disgruntled because they're not getting the playing time that they hope to have. It surprises me that none of them have stepped forward and said, "Have you all seen the things we're doing in practice?" Like, here would be one of my questions. I know they're doing other things. I know that isn't the only thing they're doing. But if you are a player trying to break into the first 11, how do you convince them that you're worthy of a spot when the drill that you're running is holding a ball between, like, squeezing that between various heads and then holding pens between your fingers? Like, if that's me and it's like, another bad training session for Eddie. We cannot trust him in the match this weekend. And you'd be like, what did I do wrong? What happened? Nothing in
Yeah.
my life has
It's crazy.
prepared me for this moment. I don't understand why it's relevant to whether or not I'd be good at the weekend.
Yeah. So obviously, all of this is in regards to a pretty lifeless 2-1 loss to Bournemouth over the
Yeah,
weekend, and City convincingly winning over Chelsea, where now City control their own destiny pretty much.
pretty much.
Uh,
Yeah,
Pretty much, just it could come down to goal differential, but a game in hand, down 6. Sorry, I should say a game in hand and have to play Arsenal.
yeah.
With Arsenal holding a 6-point lead right now, and they're actually pretty even in the goal differential. I think
3 goals, I think.
3 goals, yeah. Arsenal
Yeah.
are ahead 3 goals.
So, yeah, you would assume obviously if City win at the weekend, then the smallest gap that could be is then 1.
Yeah.
So then they would feel as if, again, yes, it's kind of in their own hands. They don't need to do anything extraordinary in order to win the title.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest shift is it takes a lot of pressure off City heading into this weekend. Because, when we ran through the various fixtures that they have, and City have the tougher set of fixtures, certainly they did, factoring in that, we would have both picked Arsenal to beat Bournemouth this weekend. And I expected City to beat Chelsea, but obviously it's a much tougher game on paper than what Arsenal were up against.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to me is this has now shifted the match this weekend from a must-win for City to a must-not-lose. Now, obviously, they still ideally need to win, but if this is a draw, they will feel like they're still in there because they'll feel like win their game in hand, it's a 3-point gap, and there's a good chance Arsenal will slip up again. That's not the position they want to be in with a handful of games to go, is relying on Arsenal losing a match, but they'd at least feel like they have a chance. Whereas, a week ago when we spoke and you ran through the Arsenal's remaining fixtures with me, and I kind of thought, aside from the City match, like Newcastle was the probably likely place they would drop points, and other than that, maybe not too much. It meant that City had to absolutely win this one to give themselves any chance. And now, yeah, it's still more crucial to City than it is to Arsenal. But yeah, I'm not going to. I'm already on record on the podcast. I'm not talking about Arsenal really losing the Premier League until they have been overtaken, and I will stick to that.
But in fairness, I mean, they've lost the control, like controlling the ability to win now. Do you know what I mean? So, like, in a way, it's kind of almost there. Like, they haven't been overtaken, but they potentially now could be overtaken.
They could be, but then it would be very Arsenal of them to go out on Sunday and play extremely well and beat City. It would also be very City of City this season, which is right as things seem to be coming into form for them at a crucial moment. They just lose the plot. Like, we have seen that to a certain degree. We saw that against Real Madrid in the Champions League. We've seen it at other stages over the course of this season where it felt like they were really building the momentum in hunting Arsenal, sort of chasing them down. And then every time they did it, they would lose, kind of drop points in unexpected places. And so I think City are rightfully favorites this weekend, but it wouldn't stun me if Arsenal won it.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the stat, Arsenal under Arteta in September and October have a 78 and 70% win rate. And then in April, that drops all the way to 41%. So, not very good in April when you have to kind of clamp down and kind of come together for the closing stages to either win or get back into it if you're not winning.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge contrast between Arsenal and City in the month of April in the Arteta era. So since Arteta's taken charge of Arsenal, as you mentioned there, Arsenal have played 26 matches in April. They've won 11, drawn 7, lost 8. So picked up 40 points, so an average of 1.5 points per game. And then City have played 24 in that same time period, won 21, drawn 2, lost 1.
That's crazy.
So average 2.7 points a game in April.
That is so crazy. What a contrast that is.
Yeah. And this is the tough thing, is because this is where it's difficult. And we've been here before where City just run off 10 wins in a row to finish the season. We've seen other teams fail in their attempts to win the Premier League. We've seen Liverpool fail because it only takes 1 or 2 slip-ups and City can be foot perfect down the stretch, and all of a sudden what seemed like you were in control, you find yourself on the final day of the season needing City to slip up. We've been there. We've been here before. It feels like a familiar story. At the same time, this version of City are nowhere near as unbeatable or all-conquering as some previous versions have been.
Yeah.
So I
If
still
City,
think
though,
Arsenal will
if
win it.
City can win, we might get a nice like Aguero type finish on the final day.
We
That'd be
could
kind of
do, and
exciting.
yeah, and I've said all I want is final day of the season for
Yep.
the Premier League title to be really up for grabs. That's becoming more and more realistic. But I would still have my money on Arsenal as things stand.
Wow. Do you have money on
I-
Arsenal as things stand?
I don't have any money on either of them as things stand. But
Well, just to give you an update from former co-host Sam, I texted him at 9:20 a.m. my time on Saturday, which would have been, just shortly after Arsenal had lost, and I said, "Uh-oh, nervous?" question mark. And his response, what do you think his response was? You want to guess his response?
he's definitely going to acknowledge some degree of nerves, but he's going to play it cool.
He said, "I've been nervous all the time."
Yeah, he wasn't nervous. I was with him over the Super Bowl when Paddy Power paid out on Arsenal to win the Premier League. So that's the thing to think of. And I actually, historically, that's done really badly, the early payout on the Premier League winners. There's been a few instances of this occurring, and whenever it gets headlines of bookies have started paying out, the team almost always blows the lead. Like it just seems to happen every time. But when I was with him beginning of February, he did not appear nervous over what the future of it was the opposite. It was we'll win the Premier League plus at least one other tournament.
Yeah.
Like that was the thought process mindset at that stage. But it's a very different looking scenario. And I mean, the thing that would worry me as an Arsenal fan, I expect them to beat Sporting this week. I expect them to win the second leg and to go through. They scraped by in the first leg. I do expect them to win the second leg and to qualify for the semifinals. But there is a cool, somewhat realistic, I don't know what percentage chance I give it. 10% chance that this time next week we're speaking and they are out of the Champions League and have lost to City. That would be a tough place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Very tough.
I don't think will be the case, but could be tough. Speaking of the Champions League, and this is actually the interesting thing to throw in, Arsenal in seasons past, same with Liverpool, kind of spoken about the advantage of not being in Europe when you've got something to play for in the final few weeks of the season. And this is a rare advantage that City suddenly get to benefit from in that, they're going to have, you look at this week in the build up to the match against City, against Arsenal, for Manchester City, they don't, there's no fixture for them. They get to rest ahead of that game. Meanwhile, Arsenal face, a relatively tough European fixture. Assuming Arsenal go through, then obviously they lock in 2 Champions League semifinal matches to also deal with. So, extra congestion in their calendar. Okay, I guess you could spin it. They benefit from not playing in the FA Cup, so they'll get a day off because of that, where City will otherwise play. But it's an interesting one. Like, if you're an Arsenal supporter now, would you take getting knocked out by Sporting? If this was the offer you could put on the table, get knocked out by Sporting, but you go on to win the Premier League. If that's the cash out option right now, is it something you think an Arsenal supporter would take?
Yeah, of course. I think they would. Because they'd probably just say like, "Oh, the Champions League, it's so random and tough and it gets in the way sometimes and blah blah." Like you can easily make an excuse for that. Whereas like our goal is always to win the Premier League. Like that's
But they've never won the
always end
Champions League.
goal. I know, I get that, but still,
It's
I
the
think that's what they'll
elusive-
say is it's always their goal.
It is, but it's going to be as long as they haven't won the Champions League, because they're the only one of the, let's call it in the history of the kind of sustained history of the Premier League. We'll say there's basically been a Big Five with a couple of other teams that have flirted with being in the Big Four at different moments in time. But realistically, certainly since the year 2000, the Big Five have mainly consisted of Liverpool, Chelsea, United, City, Arsenal in some order and configuration.
Yeah.
4 of them have won the Champions League since that moment, since this century. Arsenal have never won it at all. The closest they've come was 2006, whenever that was, when they lost in the final against Barcelona. You kind of always outside looking in on that club until you get it. It was so big for City to win the Champions League. It will be, because the interesting thing would be if you ask them right now, like a lifelong Arsenal supporter who's seen them win the Premier League, someone of our age or older, so they've seen them win the Premier League in the past. If you said you can have either the Champions League or the Premier League this season, I think given the circumstances, you had to take the Premier League because this would just be such a terrible collapse that it's would always be held against you. Like you would always be made fun of for this. Who knows though? I don't know. It would be amusing if they blew it, but I really don't think they will.
Speaking of, Eddie, the other show that also comes on in the mornings, the game show that I watch when I'm playing with the puppy, is Tenable. And Tenable had a good question that fits right into this. And it was, can you name the top 10 English top level title winners, like most title wins?
But top level meaning that this is dating back to the 19th
Yes.
century. There's going to be some. Do you have the list with you? Like I'm supposed to play this now?
Yeah, I have it. I have it. If you want. Yep. So it looks like it's going back to. I'm trying to see the earliest winner on here.
Probably the
1890.
football league was formed. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like on the list. I'm just going to tell you like out of the top 10, the earliest championship is 1891.
Okay. Liverpool.
So there's a team that had won since 1891.
Liverpool.
Yes, Liverpool is number 1.
Manchester United.
Yes, number 2. Technically, they actually both have 20 wins, but on the list, they were number 2.
Well, I'll throw Manchester City into the top 10.
Manchester City, number 4, 10 wins.
Chelsea,
number 8, 6 championships.
Arsenal,
number 3, 13 championships.
So
you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got Liverpool, United, Arsenal, City, and then you've got number 8. So you're missing 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Leeds United are not on the list. They are tied for 11th.
Oh, shit.
He would have told you that. You have one more guess. I'll give you
one more
2.
Incorrect one.
Yes.
Oof. Worries me now that can't afford to make a mistake. It's tough because I'm thinking of like how much do I factor in being a founding member of the Football League? Like how much do these early titles, and because also it's a relatively low number, right, to be featuring in the top 10. Because how many did Leeds have? You have that
Leeds
number?
had 3. Leeds had 3, and they were tied for 11th.
Everton.
So you're looking Everton, number 5, the earliest winner on this list, 1890-1891 season. So you've now got the top 5, and you've got number 8. Missing 6, 7, 9, 10.
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest are not on the list.
Oh, God. I thought... No, fill me out then, so to speak. Is that the classic expression on Tenable?
No, you have entered the vortex. I'll just give you here. How about this? So number 6, the last time they won was 1980-1981 season. They are the most recent. No, sorry. Yeah, the most recent left of the ones you have.
1980.
They have won the title 7 times. 1980-81 was the last time they've won.
I mean, Spurs always end one things ending in ones, but it's not going to be them.
You're right. 51 and 61 Spurs won.
Yeah. They love to throw that out. They kind of gave up on that eventually, but that was like
What,
the strong.
At 71, 81, and 91, they gave up on that?
Well, I just remember they played Blackburn, for example, in the League Cup final, and that was the big talk. I think that was 2001. That was maybe it was 2002. But anyway, it was like around that period you kept hearing the like year ending in 1, Spurs always win something. But they've sort of decided that they don't want to keep on going on about that. 1981. I don't know.
Aston Villa.
I should have got Villa.
Sunderland, number 7.
Never
Chelsea was
would have
number
thought
8,
of it.
you guess. Sheffield Wednesday, number 9.
Thought about them,
4.
but didn't feel confident.
And Newcastle United with 4. They had a hard run in the early 20th century. 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough list.
Yeah,
and
it's
the guy who did it did very
years.
similar to you. He did get one. I think he got Sheffield Wednesday. He said they were really good super early because they won in 1891, 92, 92, 93, 94, 95, and then 1901, 1902. So very early.
Easy to say because I didn't say it out loud, but
that's
all of the teams you mentioned aside from Sunderland, I thought of.
Yeah.
It's just that especially once I got Nottingham Forest wrong, I was a little bit hesitant about throwing like a bigger team name out there and then them not be getting it. But yeah, oh well. Speaking of Spurs, obviously, talking about collapses, they are very much in the relegation dogfight, kind of unimaginable from
crazy
where they were a couple of seasons ago. Not so unimaginable given that they finished 17th last season. I guess we should have been more open to the idea. But yeah, yet to win in 2026. And really, and even today, Leeds beating Manchester United puts them further in peril. I think that means Leeds are safe, realistically. I don't think they're now, 6 points clear?
6 points, yep.
Of Spurs. And they would need 3 teams to overtake them, and I don't think 3 teams beneath them are going to go on such a good run that they'll close that gap.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like the problem for Spurs is that other teams that are battling them now, with Leeds kind of being out of it, are Nottingham and West Ham, which like aren't the worst clubs in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like they have some decent players. They can win some games. It's not like you're getting a team that was just promoted, that's you're fighting for, that is probably going to yo-yo and go back down. Like, West Ham and Nottingham are like, they're decent. Like they've had decent seasons.
We got to
in the
throw
past
Forest
few seasons.
in. You can't just
Nottingham Forest.
You can't just do Nottingham. We're gonna have
Forest.
Notts County supporters losing their minds over the.
Sorry.
No, but your point is correct. They aren't. They're not the worst teams.
It's not like them versus Burnley. Like Burnley's already done.
This is true, and then that's what's worrying is Forest play Burnley in their next league match, so that will be tough. If Forest pick up 3 points there, it starts to become tricky for Spurs. You kind of start thinking, how many more points do they need? Historically, the number that's spoken about is always the 40-point mark.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be less than that goes down. Like, do I think Forest and West Ham are picking up? Do I think West Ham are picking up 8 more points from 6 remaining matches? I mean, it's possible, but in that they play Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle. So those are all teams chasing various things in the league, chasing European places, chasing, the title, plus Palace and plus Leeds. So a possible sort of Leeds should be. That's the worrying thing if you're Spurs too. Leeds on the final day for West Ham is a match that a couple of months ago would have looked like it was a relegation 6-pointer on the final day of the season. In all likelihood, Leeds will have absolutely nothing to play for on that final day of the season. So you'll have Leeds players dreaming of the beach and West Ham players possibly fighting for their lives. So that doesn't work in Spurs' favor. And you look at their fixtures. I mean, Brighton this weekend, I see no reason to think that Spurs will certainly win that match. They have Wolves away. That's a must-win match for them at this stage. Then Villa away, Leeds at home, which, okay, you can say they should be favorites for. Chelsea away, Everton at home. They'll do well to pick up 9 points. So, if they play well and get 9 points, so then if you're Forest, can Forest get 7 more points? I mean, that does actually put the target at exactly at 40, but can Forest get 7 more points and can West Ham get 8 more points? It's possible. We'll see. I speak entirely objectively about the top of the title race. I do not want Spurs to go down because as a supporter of a club in the championship, there is no way that Spurs don't absolutely walk the championship next season. Like, regardless of how big of a mess they are and any pessimistic, projections, they would absolutely, they'll get 100+ points in the championship. And yeah, so I'd much prefer if like Forest went down. Again, that's speaking very, very subjectively.
Do you think there's a major, if they drop down, do you think there's a major difference between Ewood and the Hotspurs Stadium?
Spurs Stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ewood Park is not the best example, actually, of the difference in.
Do you think there's a discrepancy there?
Look, as I said, Ewood Park is at least, it needs a little bit of TLC, but it at least is fundamentally a Premier League quality stadium. There are some much worse stadiums in the championship. And certainly, again, at least Blackburn benefit from having Premier League quality training facilities and everything associated with that. There are, that's where you'd see the biggest difference is there going to be players going and, facing Spurs who are thinking about like the resources and facilities that those players have access to versus what they're dealing with. It'd be night and day in some circumstances.
I mean, even have the race course, the Wrexham one that currently is like half under construction.
Yeah. And look, it looks as if they're back to promotions
falling apart a little bit.
Probably not going to happen.
3 points from their last 5 matches. They were in striking distance. I mean, they're still kind of in striking distance. They need to start winning again, but their run-in of late has not been good.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're 7th, so they're 4 points behind 6th with 4 games to go.
Yeah.
Again, it's tough. You start doing the math. Hull or Southampton are an incredible run of form at the moment, but trying to catch Hull, are Hull going to only pick up 6 more points from the remainder of the season and then Wrexham kind of win every remaining match? That seems unlikely, so probably going to just miss out on the playoffs. And I'll say this too, even if they make the playoffs, I don't think they're up against a couple teams then who are much better than they are.
I think it would be cool for them to have made the playoffs. I wouldn't have expected them to win, but I think it would have been I think that is an accomplishment in itself to move up to that league and make the playoffs in your first year. I think that's actually pretty good. That's
look, they've done way better than I thought they were going to do. Yeah. The two predictions I've had this season that I've been the most off on are Brentford and Wrexham. I thought Brentford were going to get relegated, and they're not completely out of the Champions League race yet. And I thought Wrexham were going to struggle. I didn't think they were going to go down, but I thought they were going to be like mid-table bottom half, and they're genuinely competing for playoff places. But the Championship is a funny old league. So the tough thing for them is it's not like the Premier League or even the leagues they've been in before, where this now guarantees that next season they'll find themselves in the top 7 or 8. Like you have to really restart each season. So yeah, we'll see.
Most competitive division.
It is, yeah. I mean, I think it's the one where it's the toughest to kind of think that you're on paper think you're guaranteed to pick up 3 points or not lose a match. But I think Wrexham are personally, I believe they're terrible for football, but I know people like the story. So
what's more terrible for football, Wrexham or the Blackburn ownership?
For football as a whole, Wrexham. For my personal enjoyment of football, the Venky's ownership is definitely way worse. But in terms of the impact it has on the wider world of football, then Wrexham most certainly. Now, we obviously have to talk about Rory McIlroy and the Masters at some point, but I'll give you, usually it's you give me a little bit of an option. I'll give you an option. Do you want me to throw in a little treat, a little softball for you? Non-sports related, but just to mix things up, a palate cleanser post-Premier League talk?
Go for it.
Or do you want me to save that? Oh, okay. So, my my Instagram algorithm threw up something today that really will please you.
Is it donut related?
It is donut related.
What a surprise.
I got an ad as I was scrolling through some reels. Not uncommon to see ads thrown in there with whatever frequency Instagram decides to throw them at you. But this ad,
I'm so excited. What is it?
Do I want to open a Dunkin Donuts franchise?
I love it. No, you want to be like Devontae Adams. You want to open it in your house like he did for the Taco Bell.
Do I want to, in their words, join the world leaders in the sales of donuts and pastries and sandwiches with more than 14,000 stores worldwide?
Oh, that coffee's not even in that.
It's not, no.
That's crazy.
In over a quarter of the world.
Now, did you reply back and say, but I'm in Paris? Is that doable still?
Oh, this is in French. This is specifically targeting Dunkin Donuts, which doesn't have a presence here. Dunkin Donuts is obviously looking to expand into France.
They're coming.
Eddie,
and this is your opportunity.
How much do you think
you've landed into a gold mine?
How much do you think it costs to open a Dunkin Donut franchise in France? How much do you think I have to put down?
Euros?
Euros, yeah. I'll convert it to dollars if you want.
I think they're gonna throw you like a low number I think they're gonna say for only 50,000 euros.
Well, then I have a bargain for you because it's 30,000 euros.
Oh, let's do it. Oh, we've got to do this. What's the worst thing that happens? We lose 15,000 euros each to open up a Dunkin Donuts so you can eat donuts every day. Oh, I love it.
I think you'd end up losing a lot more than that. Is probably if the store goes out of business. I think you lose more than just that initial franchise fee. There's probably some other money you'd be sticking in.
Am I mistaken? But there's no Dunkin in Paris, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. There's
Krispy Kreme.
Fuck Krispy Kreme. We could put them out of business in a week. What do they
Seems
got?
To be doing
donuts and shit coffee? Come on, get out of here.
They don't even really sell. To be honest with you, the vast majority of Krispy Kremes you see, they're like kiosks. I mean, which is the same in other countries.
Yeah.
It's like they're kiosks that you see in train stations and other places.
Even like America, it's like drive-through donuts. It's like a kiosk, but just with cars because we're American.
So most of them aren't even really selling coffee, I don't think.
Yeah, the coffee's not a big thing.
Randy's Donuts came here, went out of business.
Gone. You know why? Because they don't have. Oh, we can do this, Eddie. We're sitting on a gold mine. That ad could change our lives.
And if it wants to make it even, I got it twice today. Now, I did kind of engage with it the first time because I did click the link.
Of course you did. I knew you would.
Well, I knew it would make you laugh.
You had a combo with the CEO. You've like got numbers in head. You got ideas, locations you spotted.
Location would be the key. I mean, I don't know if there's any daytime television shows that you watch that speak about location, but that is the be all and end all when it comes to the donut world.
If I'm being honest, as much as I would love for us to attempt this, I don't know if Dunkin would do well in France. Because it's a mixture in the States. It's a pretty big mixture of like, I want a breakfast and like a coffee quickly to go type of thing. And I don't know if that would translate well in France.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing you have, and again, there's no part of me that really wants to do this aside from just the humor.
And the billions we'll make.
No,
you'll be the donut king of Paris.
Well, that it definitely wouldn't be. But is that like, okay, if you get in the right location, you might get a decent amount of tourism. You know, people just recognize the name and are happy to pick up a familiar thing. And like Uber Eats or Deliveroo, that kind of stuff, I think you do okay on that because people will, especially if you've got a buy one, get one free deal, they'll be interested. But realistically, I don't know why you would go to Dunkin Donuts over going to a boulangerie and getting a patisserie from there, a pastry from there. Same with the sandwiches. And then if you really want good coffee, you're going to go to a coffee shop. Yeah. Like so you're kind of stuck between like the Venn diagram of who you're competing with. Everyone else is doing that thing better. And then the donut is like, no one's getting a donut on a regular basis. So.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I'll say. I go to Dunkin' probably twice a week. It's always like a bacon.
How I maintain this donut tag.
Because I don't get donuts. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm let me finish. I go and I get a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, and usually like an iced coffee. Is it like that's kind of like what I'll go for? I don't see people in France getting that order. Do you know what I mean?
The sandwich definitely not. The coffee, sure, but then you're competing with Starbucks.
We have a friend of the podcast who would love a nice iced coffee when he was in Paris. Often complained about the lack of iced coffee. So maybe you hit an expat part there.
No, there's an expat community, and probably you can start selling. You could lead into it with some corporate stuff where maybe you can get some companies who want, 50 donuts a day to be delivered to their office.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but I don't know. It feels to me like something.
Because I think they make the most money on like those sandwiches. Because it's like you just want a quick breakfast to go, and that's not very European.
No, it's not a huge breakfast culture in general.
Yeah, especially not like eating a breakfast sandwich like while commuting or like walking or to work or something. That's not happening.
No, your only chance again is maybe if you came up then with an agreement with a company, which is like, hey, this is a great perk you get to offer your employees. Yeah. We're going to deliver every morning 40 like bacon and egg sandwiches.
Yeah. What if you put it like Gare du Nord?
There's a Krispy Kreme there already, I think. This is the thing, is Krispy Kreme has kind of moved into the in-station locations. Yeah. And I don't know if you want to be going toe-to-toe. You don't want to be starting a donut turf war. That might be...
But then we can where does Eddie land on the donut war, the donut turf war?
Here's the other thing, as I also said to you, I went to Brussels 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, and I went to a Dunkin Donuts there because they've already established themselves in Brussels. I don't think I'd ever had Dunkin Donuts before in my life, because obviously where I lived in the US as a kid, Dunkin Donuts didn't exist because it was so regional at that point. I wasn't super impressed.
With what, the donut?
All I had was, you know me, I'm
A
pretty
glazed donut. Yeah.
basic. I had 2 glazed donuts. That was my order, and a lemonade. I thought I'd give their lemonade a
Interesting.
go.
Lemonade. Okay.
Lemonade wasn't great either,
Yeah.
but I wasn't expecting it to be. It's not like it was freshly made. It
Was it a
some
Dunkin' Refresher? Is that what it was called?
I think it was just called lemonade, and then I could
Oh.
choose either pink lemonade or regular
Or
lemonade.
strawberry or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fine. It was drinkable. It was very watery. I mean, it was clearly just like a packet mixed in with water. I mean, it tasted like water mostly, but it was just like water, but pushing me towards diabetes, which is the perfect outcome.
Great representation then.
Yeah, this is the sales pitch I'll have when I'm opening my Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, their donuts are decent. They're like good average donuts. I mean, I don't think they're any better than if you went to like a supermarket, like Kroger's, just to throw out a random one, and got like a Kroger's dozen donuts. They're about the same.
All I would say is based on the again, small sample size, the 2 donuts I had in Brussels, I would rather have Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, I think so too. If I was getting donuts, I'd rather have Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. So that's tough. As a donut lover, could I betray my own belief system and open what I believe to be a subpar donut shop? I don't think I could do that to myself. Like if someone came in, if there's a moment I'm the manager, I'm embracing it. Like it's a sort of.
I'm seeing you in the outfit, like the Dunkin' Donuts.
I'd be like, I'd have a little apron on. It would be like. It would be like maybe a button up with the little Dunkin' Donuts logo on it. Maybe throw on the little paper hat to. And if someone asked me, hey, what do you think the donut I should get is? My answer would be 3 blocks over, Krispy Kreme. That's my advice.
I just picture you. This is a really obscure reference that maybe most people won't know, but there's like the really famous Dunkin' commercial from the 80s where the guy's like, "Time to make the donuts." And he's got like the full Dunkin' outfit. I just picture you in Paris just saying that over and over again.
Okay, but I'm not going to lose my mind as part of this.
Well, you've invested in a failing corporation in Paris, so maybe you are.
Hey, they're not here yet. This is the chance to be
on the ground level.
The only reason I would kind of do it is.
I love that. There we go. By the end of this episode, you've already clicked yes.
No, it's just like it's always one of those things that's just like the idea of just telling people that you own any type of franchise, as dumb as that is, it's just sort of an interesting icebreaker and anecdote to be able to throw in. Just like, yeah, this is my job. I also own the only Dunkin' Donuts in Paris. Like, what a fascinating
first and only.
Yes, yeah. And now I own 7 because you got to end up really like drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah. So, like for a while, I worked in a bar in Paris when I was 19. One of the guys who would come in, he at the time owned, I think, all but one of the Subways in Paris.
Wow, like nice, good for him.
Most of them, I think, have gone out of business, but
yeah, for that time being, he was doing great.
That was 2009. That was peak Subway.
Most
time.
of the Subways have gone out of business
in Paris. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Friend of the
certainly,
same friend of the podcast probably drove them out of business because he hates them.
Because he hates the on top of it too. They've definitely downgraded from you used to have the proper like Subway shop to now it's just the small narrow thing where realistically I think they only exist for delivery.
Uber Eats.
Yeah. Like you can't go if you go and buy a sandwich, there's nowhere to sit. It's like you must leave weird. Now. Like, so again, I think that's the evolution of Subway has been interesting to watch here. I do occasionally get Subways. I get Subway more often than I get a donut.
Do you want to open up a Subway? What about we open up a Jersey Mike's?
Or Jimmy John's. That's what we really have to open up.
Jimmy John's Jimmy John's would kill. I mean Jersey Mike's is good, but Jersey Mike's is a little expensive. Jimmy John's is perfect.
Both terrible names for French people to say, though. Jimmy John's,
You're
that would just be.
you're the Jimmy John of Paris. I love it.
Anyway, none of this is
That's a good
happening,
one.
but I thought I would just give you that update. We can now get on to the Masters. Rory McIlroy winning back-to-back Masters, second European
Yeah.
to ever do so, I think. I think it's only him and Nick Faldo. Now the second most successful European of all time in terms of major wins.
Yeah.
It's him and Nick Faldo as well, both with 6. In the end, it was good.
I was gonna say, just finishing off of that before we get into it, and also getting up there into kind of like that absolute elite legendary status, because like the next on the list, I think, is what, like Palmer and who's got 7. It's like you're getting into the names of like really good. It's like Palmer, Bobby Jones.
So on the list, so obviously Jack Nicklaus, number 1, 18, Tiger Woods, 15, Walter Hagen, 11, Ben Hogan, 9, Gary Player, 9, Tom Watson, 8, Arnold Palmer, 7, Sam Snead, 7, Gene Sarazen, 7, Bobby Jones, 7.
Yeah. I mean, once you're getting
Professional
into
majors only for Bobby Jones.
to Palmer and Jones and all
13.
them. Yeah.
You say
Well,
this, but I then asked for a list. I went to our good friend Google Gemini and asked for it to refine that list with only players who've won a major in the modern era, which I define the modern era as 1970 onwards. Like they had to have won at least one major within the last 66 years. I felt like, because otherwise, I think it's tough. And definitely he pushes himself close, because then that list is Jack Nicklaus 18, Tiger Woods 15, Gary Player 9, Tom Watson 8. And then he's on 6 alongside Faldo, Trevino, Mickelson. Yeah, on 6. And then 5
and Brooks
was
Koepka, right? Doesn't he have 5?
Koepka has 5, and Seve Ballesteros
Crazy.
also had 5. But that's the thing to me. I actually think the Brooks Koepka, it
Ruins
makes the 6 not look so good.
But what about but then what if you also add in total wins? Because he also has a lot of total wins, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, but
whereas Brooks Koepka basically only won those majors. I mean, he had other wins, but like the majority of his wins were majors. Whereas
because like McIlroy has longevity going for him. It's 2011 now to 2026, so it's kind of major wins span 15 years. But is that better? Is 6 and 15 years actually better than Brooks Koepka, who did 5 and 6 years?
Yeah, because I mean, aren't you the one who argued that longevity is a requirement for being like one of the greatest ever? Like you're the argument man for that.
I am, but the tough thing is longevity is continued dominance. It's not winning 2 at the beginning of your career and 2 at the end of your career and having longevity. It's like, no, he went an extremely long period of time. Like, it's difficult because people, as is anything, because of the way, and we're going to have to unfortunately dip our toes into this conversation now, but the conversation of like, where does Rory McIlroy stand in the greatest golfers of all time, and has he sort of firmly inherited the trophy, sort of the post Tiger Woods, sort of dominant force in golf. McIlroy's, in 2011, 2012, it looked certain that McIlroy was the next thing. Then he just disappeared for a while.
He took the golf game for a while,
Yes, true. He disappeared for so long. I mean, not disappeared, but fell off the sort of top end competitive scale so much. The list of players who temporarily held that title, which includes the likes of like Jordan Spieth, who's like nowhere to be found now.
Yeah.
That to me isn't longevity.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Because I mean, I guess the issue is there was like no major win in that gap, right? He goes winless for like 10 years with a major.
So he won the US Open in 2011.
Okay.
Then he won the PGA in 2012. Then he
Okay.
won the PGA and the Open in 2014, and then 2014 to 2025, no majors.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. Like if you had said he had maybe won 1 or 2 in the next 10, then you're right, he's still not dominant in those years, but he still has like sparks. And maybe you can make excuses isn't the right word, but you there could be reasons for why, he fell off a little. Maybe he had a bad injury that took several years, like Tiger did, like he had an injury, took several years to come back on, or maybe he had a personal issue that, definitely affected him for a few years or something like that. But and to be honest, I think all of those kind of contributed to that gap in a way. But for it to be 10 years is a very long time to have like a quote unquote excuse or reason for.
Yeah, and this is why I think there's too much of an overreaction to a certain extent to what he's done in these back-to-back Masters, which, yeah, it's super impressive to have got over the hump last year and then to have defended the title this time around. But like ultimately, when it all is said and done, do I think Rory McIlroy or Scotty Scheffler has more majors? So Scheffler's currently on 4. Do I think Scheffler overtakes him? Scheffler is 7 years younger. He's 29 versus McIlroy's 36. So you'd say Scheffler has a good 15 years of being competitive at the very highest level left in him. Do I think he wins at least another 5 majors? Probably. And am I certain that McIlroy is winning more than another 2 or 3? Probably not. So, like, to me, if McIlroy really wants to throw himself into the conversation of, kind of greatest of all time, or I mean, not greatest of all time because you're never going to take on Nicholas or Woods, but sort of the most modern era, he needs to now go on a run where there's 2 or 3 years where he wins 4 majors. Like, and
Yeah.
it can't just be 1 a year picking it up and then doing the Rory McIlroy thing of there were top 10 finishes in lots of places other than that. Like, wasn't really in with a chance on Sunday, started the day 9 back, finished 3 back, was never truly in the hunt, but another top 5 for Rory.
Yeah, and he's, like we said, he's top 10 now for majors. But if we're just looking at overall wins, he's tied for top 16 with 30. And Scheffler, who you mentioned, has 20. So he's kind of on the same trajectory as Rory in a way, like from a time point of major wins, total wins, pretty similar. So if Scheffler would continue this run of like being pretty competitive and continuing to win some major tournaments and some other tournaments, like he could be right up there.
Yeah, but everything with Schefter has been so much Schefter. Adam Schefter. So everything with Scheffler has been so much more compacted because those wins are 2022 to 2025.
Yeah.
And so if he were to, like, in my mind, if Scheffler wins 3 more in the next 3 years, then that's a better sort of career period than anything Rory has had. Unless Rory now really runs puts a string like of major wins together and suddenly gets himself close to, 10. It's, I don't know. And I really like Rory McIlroy. This isn't me trying to knock the achievement, but, and I think it's good for golf because the excitement I felt like heading into this year's Masters, obviously there was the Tiger Woods off the course issues that were kind of overshadowing much of the golf discussion. But on top of that too, heading into this Masters, there was no real, will this guy finally win one? Because most of the
Yeah.
people, I mean, Justin Rose is in that category, but I kind of feel like most people think that Justin Rose may just never win a major and that he's very, very good, but he's not in the elite level. It's not in the like Rory McIlroy, will he ever win the Masters, or even Sergio Garcia kind of realm of really having been a sort of golfing phenomenon for a period. Now heading into next year, the will Rory win 3 in a row? That's a huge topic.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I thought the Will Russell Henley win one was a huge talking point
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Well, I was fully prepared for Tyrrell Hatton, who gets shat on every year for
to
just
come
being
back with his 6
like
under.
the worst major winner of all time, worst Masters winner of all time. If Tyrrell Hatton 10 years on had snuck another Masters, I think that would have been pretty cool. Now, the really depressing thing though, this year's Masters, 6 golfers won more than $1 million in prize money.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So Rory McIlroy winning it won $4.5 million. Scotty Scheffler finishing second won $2.43 million. Tyrrell Hatton, Russell Henley, Justin Rose, and Cameron Young, who all tied for third, each won $1.08 million.
Crazy. Eddie, but once you take out everything, they've barely broke even.
Yeah. And you got to remember, they don't get prize money when they miss the cut. So, golf it's tough. It's cutthroat.
Once you take out
again,
taxes and you take out trainer fees and caddy fees and agent fees, they haven't even made enough to buy like a 2-bedroom condo in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Now, yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
there's too much money in sports. When I see stuff like that, like it doesn't feel right to me that okay, it's tied for third, but fundamentally finishing 6th in a tournament should not win over $1 million. It just doesn't sit right with me. The economics feel broken, and everything just feels unrelatable.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Do you at least appreciate the fact that at the Masters, tickets, if you get the lottery, are actually pretty reasonable price for a major sporting event, and the food at the tournament and the drinks are also pretty reasonable price? Is that at least
No
the
one ever
matches
talks
that
about that.
offset? Yeah, no one ever talks about it. Does that at least offset a little bit the fact that they're making so much money that at least it's not literally on the shoulders of the people going to watch, where they're paying like $800 for a ticket to watch?
Well, the reality is most people are paying that amount, right? Because it's the
But they're not
secondary
paying it to
market.
the Masters. They're paying it to
No.
a middleman who's just exploited the system.
And StubHub. But
Yeah.
I think I'm getting enough of the Masters. I think the best place on earth, and maybe
It's
this
an event like
is
no other.
yeah. And maybe the events in the world are contributing slightly to the fact that this view of this world trapped in 1950 maybe sits slightly more uncomfortably with me. But uh, like, and I've never been, so I'm not really shitting on the food. There's no way a pimento cheese sandwich is so mind-blowingly good that it needs to be raved about in the way that it's raved about. I never want to eat
I
a
sent you
pimento cheese
another
sandwich.
video today. Oh, I know. I said
I'm
I wouldn't mind it. Like I've had pimento cheese on things.
I'll
It's fine. But
I'll
like
try it if I'm there, but
I sent you the video today of a person like reviewing the food, and like obviously this is every other video out there is like this, and there are a
yes.
million of them. But the person just absolutely going insane about how amazing the barbecue sandwich is just complete bullshit. Like, this is one of the best barbecue sandwiches I've ever had, and it's only $3. Like, no, it's not. It's not one of the best you ever had. If that's the best you ever had, I don't
It's
care how
not
good it is. Because
$3. It's not 3. This is like when I opened my Dunkin Donuts franchise, I sell the donuts for 10 cents, but the requirement is that prior to buying a donut, you need to spend 900 euros with me. That's what's going on. It bothers me so much. And yes, the tickets, if you win the lottery or whatever, are affordable. But you
Yeah.
still then are going. The masters know that you're also then going to the merch tent and buying vastly overpriced T-shirts and whatever. And the average person is spending like $1,000 in the masters merch tent and stuff. So like this idea that these items are priced like this, these are loss leaders for them so that everything else, so that all people talk about is how wonderfully affordable the Masters is. And we all pretend that. Like, it's insane to me.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that. But then also you like there is no way. Like I just looking at it, you cannot like when they hold it to the camera and they show what it looks like, you cannot say the words, "This is the best barbecue sandwich I've ever had," and show what they're showing. It's literally like a McDonald's bun that costs them 2 cents with like a few little pieces of barbecue pork or whatever is in there. Like go to a real barbecue place and get a fucking real like brisket sandwich. If this you think is the best, that'll fucking blow your head off.
The only thing I will agree, I will believe 100% that for the vast majority of people, it is the best pimento cheese sandwich they've ever had because it will be the first and last pimento cheese sandwich that they will ever have. So that's the one you can tell me because
Unless you're a true
especially
Southerner.
if you're not American, you're gonna be like, I don't even know what pimento cheese is. Like that, this is
Yeah.
no clue. And then you'll eat it and you'd be like, it's okay. But then also too, like the people raving, like the egg salad sandwich or whatever, it's amazing. I don't even normally like egg salad sandwiches. No chance. If you're not an egg salad person, there is no egg salad good enough to convince you that egg salad sandwiches are worth eating.
I'll tell you what, I hate egg sandwiches. If we get a ticket to the Masters, I will order the egg sandwich and I'll throw it right in the fucking garbage. I won't even try it. Because you know why? Because there's no such thing as good egg salad.
Well,
It is disgusting.
we're not getting invited now. You've guaranteed
Or like
that.
oh, I heard the hack is if you take the chicken off the chicken sandwich and put it on the pinto cheese, it's so good. It's like, okay, you're taking a piece of breaded chicken, putting it on a shit cheese, and putting it in between 2 pieces of white bread. That's the best sandwich you've ever eaten? Like, go to a real fucking restaurant.
If I went to someone's house and they offered me a sandwich, if you offered to make me a sandwich at your house, the vast majority of the sandwiches that you see on offer at Augusta, I would be like, if this is what you're making me, this is it? Like pimento cheese, this is what you've made
I'm
for me?
gonna do it next time you visit.
I would be like, if you'd told me this was the option, I would have said, let's order something. Like, let's go and pick up a sandwich. Like, I thought that you were going to make me like a BLT, something reasonably decent. But yeah, people just
I can't wait now to the
convincing
next time you
themselves.
come over.
I've also got two other
I'm gonna especially buy
Masters.
pimento cheese.
I've got 2 other Masters rants. Again, we're supposed to buy into, the history and the prestige of the tournament and the way in
boy.
which everyone's
Where are we
supposed to
going with this
carry
one?
themselves. Sergio Garcia just destroying his driver after after his bad shot on the second hole. If the Masters wants to take itself that seriously, ban him. Like, uphold your standards and go, do you know what? Actually, that conduct is unbecoming of this tournament. You're not welcome anymore. Like,
at least a suspension, like a 3-year
I know
suspension.
he's a former winner, so it's whatever they're, but you got to do something. We can't pretend that while all these golf bros wander around the course for a while, but we can't all be pretending that this is some magical place trapped in time. Meanwhile, Sergio Garcia is just beating up inanimate objects with his driver because he's not having the best day on the weekend.
Didn't he get dead last?
Yeah, I mean, he was so far out of contest. I get that it's frustrating when you're playing very bad golf. We've all been there to obviously very different skill levels. It is one of the most frustrating things you can be doing. But when you're completely out of it, is it that even like I can get if that's to make the cut and that's what you do on, the 18th hole of round 2 and you're like, "Oh my god, I've just fucked my chance at maybe making a run in the Masters. I've cost myself money. This has been a waste of the week." But when you just turn up and you're like, "Didn't have it this week. Just absolutely terrible." Why are you that angry? It's an insight
Yeah.
into the person's mind to lose it that much.
And why is he so mad? Because he's still getting the Masters dinner. No?
Yes. Still gets that. And my other Masters related
Well,
rant.
I thought you were gonna follow me up and say, "Did you see what the menu was?"
Well, I think the time's passed. The menu's been pretty heavily dissected. No, this was a
All right. Well,
last
that was
week
always
conversation.
yeah, I know, but it's always a thing we used to do.
We did, but then
Fair
you
enough.
had to go off and play in a hockey tournament, so we didn't get to
Fair
record an
enough.
episode. And, this is your punishment. You don't get to discuss what Rory McIlroy planned for his special little meal. You know, Uh,
It sounded pretty good too.
you can bring it up next year when you talk about what he picked this next year. You can compare and contrast the year before.
Good. That's a
Because this
deal.
is the
Okay.
thing. Here's the interesting because the only thing I'll say is, as a very superstitious person, I would now have to have exactly the same menu next year as the one that I had this year. That's all I'll say. If I'm Rory, copy and paste. But we need to stop with the discussion too. This gets rolled out every year. How big of a lead would an amateur need on the 18th at the Masters to win? I'm fine with that conceptually as a discussion. I think overall people make the course sound a lot harder than it really is. And I actually respect a few of the professionals who are like, a 6-shot lead and you're probably winning. Like it's I saw some like Kevin Kisner who has a Barstool podcast and stuff like and various other golfers be like, "Oh, you wouldn't even finish some holes." I wouldn't finish them. What the fuck do you think is going to happen to me midway
You're,
through the 12th?
you're gonna have a heart attack and drop
Yeah.
dead.
Like what? Oh, the greens are glass. I mean, it's I know that the par 3 tournament's not played on the same grass, the same greens as the tournament, but to a certain extent, it's giving you an indication of how tough the greens are. If fucking Rory McIlroy's daughter is sinking 15-yard putts in the par 3 contest, I give myself a chance of maybe 4 putting from 10 feet. Like, and again, you know what I mean? Like in the circumstances, if I'm just hit it straight, just don't do anything dumb. Don't even take the driver out. Just an iron. Work your way 200 yards down, 150 yards down. Am I saying I can compete with a professional golfer under normal circumstances?
A little
100%
bit.
no. No, but I'm just saying there is a number that you could give me where I would be very confident I could beat them.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is a number at which point you could beat them.
Yeah. But the way they they talk about it sometimes is no. I mean, literally, you wouldn't finish. Kevin Kisner was like, there's 2 holes you wouldn't finish.
Does he mean like you just lose so many balls you'd be DQ'd?
I think he's just you're just hitting it in the water over and over and over again. Like, no, I'm not that fucking dumb. At a certain point, I'll go into the woods for a bit. Like I'll take a different path if I have to. But I'm not. Anyway, those are my Masters rants.
Well, I guess to wrap up, do we have any other sports topics or non-sports topics you want to discuss quickly?
Quick one. Did you see Trevor Lawrence's hair?
No, I didn't. You look
He's got his
normal?
hair.
Oh, hold on. You got a live
He
reaction
looks like
right
a
now.
completely different person.
Okay, hold
I
on.
might be betting on the Jags to win the Super Bowl.
No, apparently he didn't.
Is it AI?
I think so.
No.
You've been AI'd.
Oh,
Because
no.
apparently, not long after the pic showcasing Lawrence's new look made the round, Marcel Robinson of Action Sports Jacks posted a Twitter picture of him shutting down any rumors he'd gotten a haircut. He said, "Nope,
Terrible.
can confirm 16 and I had a good laugh about it, though." Oh man,
on the
Eddie,
basis of, damn, I got done.
you got AI'd. He does look way better with this AI cut though.
Yeah, he should look at that and get it done. Because also that's the tough thing too. When I read about it online, universally everyone just saying, "My God, he looks so much better." If that's you and you're a public person, and then this fake image of you with a haircut gets done, and then the reaction is just, "Whoa, he looks so much better." How do you not go and get that haircut?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right. He looks better, but I think you could tell this is AI. It doesn't look that realistic. Oh, it
Oh
sucks
dear.
that we're a podcast format. No one else can see this.
Oh no, it's going on YouTube, remember? And we can clip it, but
Perfect.
ah. I would love it if that's the thing I thought was real. I would have loved to just
You
have
know
to
who would have?
y
Vass.
yeah,
Speaking of, it was Vass's birthday.
it
Did you
was.
wish him a happy birthday?
I did, yeah.
I did not.
I got a thanks, dude.
Oh, nice.
That's all I got. I mean, Vass and I gotta be honest, we're in a rocky spot as a friendship goes. Just never hear from him
Fortunate.
anymore. He puts in no effort.
Sad for the stories.
It's sad for the
Podcast
stories.
listeners.
It's sad on a friendship level too, as much as I
More sad for the
as much
stories.
as much as I live my life to create content for the podcast. It's sad on all fronts. But yeah, I haven't seen him since the night before the Super Bowl. And I have basically not heard from him then at all either. So, yeah. Way to bring up a downer topic to the podcast.
It's not down it for me. Our friendship is thriving, me and Vass.
Sure.
We send Japanese anime pictures and videos all day.
Do you?
No.
Hentai as well.
Yep.
So, final non-sports topics.
Okay. Are we going to discuss season 3, episode 1 of Euphoria?
I don't watch Euphoria.
I know you don't.
It's one of my, I always like to throw out my big cultural blind spots. Euphoria is probably on there. I've never seen an episode. I know roughly who's in it because it's obviously the big stars.
They're all kind of famous now a little bit.
Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, like whatever. I know that they're in it. And I know kind of what it's about in that they're tormented high schoolers, but
not anymore.
No.
Now they're older.
Yeah.
Season 3, it's like a flash forward.
But yeah, never seen an episode, never will.
It's I kind of half hate watched it. Because it's very divisive. Like people think it's great and other people think that Sam Levinson might be locked up or should be locked up for, he's quite controversial in some of the scenes and things he does in Euphoria, and then also did The Idol, which was kind of weird and kind of, you have to question the person who made that show and some of the shit that went on in there. But it's okay. Visually, it's pretty cool. Like he can do some really neat things from a cinematography standpoint, but the story is kind of batshit crazy. And they've kind of tried to like wipe out I give him credit. He's like tried to completely wipe out the story of the first 2 seasons and flash forward, like, I think it's 5 years or so, and kind of change everyone's storyline in a way in season 3 and kind of have it be like a whole new show almost. So we'll see how that goes, but the reviews aren't great so far for season 3. So I'll still watch it because I love to hate watch as much as I love to love watch. So
There you go. Yeah, no, I'll never. That, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter.
oh well, the new Harry Potter's coming out. You can start that, the HBO one. Coming out
No.
in Christmas.
See, I already kind of gave in to a little bit of the Game of Thrones stuff because I've watched the spin-off shows from Game of Thrones. I will never give in to Harry Potter. Like that's a hill I'm going to die
Didn't
on.
read the books either.
No. Not read a single page of the books. I did see the first movie.
Would I've given you less or more credit if you've read 13 pages? Like, I don't know what that
Maybe.
means.
It would have shown intent.
Yeah, or does it show the opposite? Like, I read 13 and I was like, fuck this. It only took me 11 and a half pages to be out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, never.
Well, that's sad
Ultimately,
for you.
I just always thought it was for dorks.
Well, call me
I
a
think
dork
you know
then.
what
I don't give a shit.
it all boils down to. It shows the ways in which things get described to you as a child, or how important a little description plays. I had never heard of Harry Potter until I switched schools when I was in 5th grade. 5th grade? No, not 5th grade. I was in 7th grade, and I was switching schools. Never heard of Harry Potter, and I was like, I think it was the day before I was starting at the new school, I met with the teacher who was gonna be my homeroom teacher, and she was asking me like, "Well, what are your interests?" And I was kinda giving the breakdown, and she was like, "A lot of the other kids here, they really like Harry Potter. Do you know what that is?" I said, "No, I don't know what that is. What is it?" And she said, "Oh, there are these books about this little wizard boy." She kinda, like, described it. Oh, couldn't be more out on a thing the way she went about describing it. She made it sound so tremendously uncool that I've never wanted to be associated with it for even a moment in my life. Maybe I'm on the
Yeah.
right side of history, though, so it's okay.
I don't know. I think they're pretty good books.
Maybe. And fortunately, it's part of the reason not having children, because I don't wanna run the risk that they make me read Harry Potter to them.
That's number one on the list.
In the pros and cons of having kids, biggest con, might have to read Harry Potter. All right. Very brief Pitt discussion. Presuming you've seen or watched the latest episode from last week.
I did.
Again, kind of I mean, we got to see Dr. Robbie full on admit to the fact that he's having suicidal thoughts, which is a pretty big topic for the show to be taking on. So that was interesting. Uh, Other than that, a lot of the other topics just kind of pushed along until the very end, the cliffhanger of Dr. Al-Hashimi presenting her own
Yeah. That was kind of
uh,
weird. I didn't really
case,
like that.
which
Like
a lot of
Kate, can you come in here for a minute? Like that whole scene was kind of weird.
review this case for me, and then
That was
it's very
too what's this Grey's Anatomy for me.
this season is a little bit more Grey's Anatomy-ish.
Yeah.
It's a little too much drama,
And
and
you know what I've never watched a single episode of? Grey's
really,
Anatomy.
oh,
Yep.
that's impressive because it's been on for almost our entire lifetimes at this point.
There you go.
A lot of internet backlash because
about what?
What Dr. Al-Hashimi did. So that's a HIPAA violation. You cannot access, even as a doctor, you cannot access your own medical files in that way because the fear would be that you would edit them. So she cannot, like, accessing your own. So then there's speculation. Don't want to dig into fan theories, but there is speculation that she is the one who took, what's his name's missing ID, his card, because she could have used his details to access her files so that it didn't immediately flag it. But if not,
I get that, but then at the same time, I have my own medical records.
you have a copy of them,
Yeah, so
but you
like,
don't
what if
have them. You can't access them within the system in which you could edit them.
Oh,
So
but how do we know she's in that system? How do we know she's just not pulling up like her email or something with like with her documents in it?
Boy, don't you think then Dr. Robbie would have instantly gone, "This is you"? Like, he didn't. We wouldn't even.
Maybe I
He'd be like,
guess.
"Why has this been sent from Al-Hashimi 8787 XOXO?"
No, but I mean, like, why? Like, for instance, like I have like here we have I don't know, it's called like My Chart or something like that, and I log
Yeah.
into My Chart and I can access my documents. Why couldn't she have done that? Like, go to her, like the portal and access her document, and just open up the document that
I
like
mean,
the
it's on like
doctor writes.
it's on like the hospital computer though. I don't think you can just
I
log.
guess.
You can. I don't think you could just go like, "Do you know what I want to do? I'm going to go on to Yahoo Chat for a while." Like, I don't
Ooh.
think.
Now we're talking. Now we're cooking.
I don't. I think probably if you're accessing the files on that, if I agree with you, if she'd handed him her phone, then you could believe that type of thing. But the fact that he's accessing it within the system, like he's looking at it the same way they
Yeah.
look at everything else, then you have to assume she's doing it in a way which, if she didn't use someone else's login details. And I read a whole subreddit about this where someone was like, this is a HIPAA violation. And then someone who works in like compliance chimed in with like, this would instantly get flagged. Like the moment you even tried to access your own files and there was a link between your user details and the file you're trying to access, we see that straight away.
So
And
she's definitely got his thing.
And a bunch of people chiming in underneath with like, yeah, this would be a no-go. Like you're in trouble that day.
And it does kind of make sense maybe then, because like I didn't understand what the huge deal was that Whittaker lost his ID. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they kept going through that. And I know part of it maybe was to put him in like weird places, like where he's.
I think it also did like imply that Langdon was maybe using it for drugs.
Maybe,
that would feel, and again, going into the Grey's Anatomy, to me, that would feel way too Grey's Anatomy-ish.
Yeah.
Of like the guy with the drug problem can't overcome the drug problem. Like day one, he
complained about
drugs.
His back. He complained about his back pain.
Went to the bathroom.
That scene was actually probably, I think, the worst scene of the season. When Whittaker just blows up at Langdon and does like the fucking Gilligan's Island reference. Like one, whoever does a Gilligan's Island reference, like why was that like the thing? You could tell someone who wrote that doesn't realize that people don't fucking know what Gilligan's Island is anymore.
I mean, we're probably in the last generation because, I watched Gilligan's Island as a kid because of Nick at Night and stuff.
Because of Nick at Night.
And that's the Langdon reference. Langdon's probably our age, I suppose.
No,
even for him, it's a deep cut.
Yeah. I said Langdon's probably even a little younger than us, but
in real life, probably not. In terms of within
on the show, he's probably like 35.
Yeah. So I mean, he's in our age range.
But maybe never even got to it like Nick at Night, really. But Whittaker definitely probably didn't. And even if he did, like, I think it's like from a meta standpoint, I think it's just kind of a stupid reference to put in that so many people, younger generations, wouldn't get. That was like weird. But then the scene itself was just weird. How Whittaker just like absolutely blew up at him like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Agreed. That was a bad scene.
And it didn't feel like he'd really done that much to deserve it.
No.
Really. Like they didn't set that up well enough where it was like Langdon doesn't seem particularly annoying under these circumstances. So why would he be the one that you really explode at? It seemed a bit strange.
Yeah. Unless, like that's one of those things where, because this is the other thing I've always heard about the Pitt, is they actually film a ton more. And maybe that was one that got lost, like a deleted scene or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see what the finale holds.
Yep.
But all right. Well, with that, we'll call it a day.
Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.